genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to this Thursday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. After years of legal proceedings, the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, a key accused in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, has reached its final stage. In fact, a team of Indian investigators has already taken custody of the 64-year-old and is flying him currently back to India, while top officials in Delhi have ramped up security and also finalized protocols to handle his arrival. Now, Rana is expected to land in New Delhi anytime today. In fact, Rana, a Canadian-American of Pakistani origin, is returning to India nearly 17 years after the 2008 attacks that killed over 166 people. He will face trial upon his arrival. US authorities, meanwhile, handed him over to India's NIA, or the National Investigation Agency, in California on Tuesday night. The Indian team is flying him back on a government aircraft, which is expected to land in the capital, New Delhi, just hours from now. His return follows a prolonged legal fight over his extradition. My colleague Saurabh joins me live from Mumbai for more on the story. Saurabh, what's the latest you're picking up? When can we arrive the flight? And more importantly, what will be the procedure once he lands?
Well, obviously, once he lands on Indian soil, there is a host of legal procedures to be carried out. My colleagues have been reporting on it throughout the day. Of course, there are legal procedures that have already been decided. Some of them, of course, given the security involved in this, may not happen the normal way, but there are provisions to, do it in a way that's most secure in the law itself. So obviously, from taking custody to placing him under arrest to, to producing him in a court, all of that can happen. For example, producing him in a court can also happen via video conferencing. It's not necessary for him to take him physically. So all of these measures are there within the law. Given the high security involved, all of these measures will be put in place. Now, Tahawwur Rana's role is important to be noted. This was the man who financed, provided logistical support, and provided a cover for the one of the main plotters, David Headley, to come to Mumbai, conduct reconnaissance, identify targets, and help the plotters of the 26/11 attacks. Now, I am at the Kama and All Bless Hospital, which is right behind me. The current NIA chief, the DG, Sadanand Date, was then in Mumbai. He was fighting the terrorists on that day right inside this hospital. And of course, for him, it would be a moment of, a somber moment, because remember, from, fighting those terrorists to actually today heading the agency that's, in a way, primarily responsible for bringing Tahawwur Rana back to India to face the law, to face justice under Indian law in an Indian court in India.
Saurabh, we also, on the diplomatic front, in fact, we had a statement released by Pakistan, which has kind of shrugged off responsibility from the entire episode altogether, like we have been seeing over the past years and decades. What are you picking up on this, and what do you expect from Canada now? Because he was also a Canadian citizen.
Let's deal with Pakistan. Pakistan, as claims have been hollow. Pakistan denying responsibility is something that's now, it doesn't even require an explanation. Ajmal Kasab made it clear of Pakistani involvement. More importantly, David Coleman Headley, deposed in an Indian court, he also made it clear about the Pakistani involvement, and the larger perpetrators still remain at large under protection from the Pakistani establishment. So Pakistan, of course, has always been fomenting terror. It has become, a terrorist sponsoring state, and that has come back to bite them as well. As far as Canada is concerned, now he is of course a Pakistani Canadian citizen, but obviously he's been arrested in the United States, he's been held there, and now of course he has to face trial in India because this crime, this horrific crime which the world watched on its televisions, and this was not, this might have well been a crime against India, of course, it was an attack on India, but look at the people who suffered. They were all nationalities, they were Americans, there were Jewish establishments that were attacked, there were all sorts of people. It wasn't just an attack on India. American citizens died, others died, citizens of different nationalities died. So this is something that perhaps the world will continue to watch as India tries to, make these perpetrators face justice, because the attack itself was not just an attack on India, it wasn't an attack on Mumbai, it wasn't just an attack on the financial capital, it was a terror attack that shook the world.
Of course, Saurabh. And also, I mean, this extradition very clearly underlines that India now is not just talking the talk, but also walking the walk. Thank you so much for those updates, Saurabh. Moving on now, this is of course a milestone and indeed a major breakthrough, and it also provides a sense of justice for the victims and also helps, in fact, in establishing the role of others involved and what the questions that can be answered by Rana. For all of this and much more, let's go across to my colleague Vishal, who brings you this special report.
So it's always been alleged that there was close coordination between handlers in Pakistan, most likely ISI and Pak army officials, and the Lashkar-e-Taiba operators and terrorists who were executing these attacks in Mumbai. So all of that could be answered, that the exact nature of the communications between ISI and Lashkar-e-Taiba, was it at the highest level or ISI and Lashkar coordinated towards the lower level? All of that could be answered when authorities start questioning Tahawwur Rana. And the other thing that they can look at is the precise role in facilitating headless surveillance. So we have been reporting throughout that it was Tahawwur Rana's immigration firm that facilitated headless entry into India, and he did that extensive recce operations across Mumbai. So what was the precise role and how did he manage to do that exactly? That will be looked at most definitely. And as we've been reporting throughout, there have been many Pak officials or intermediaries that have been named ever since the attacks were coordinated. So who are these people? There have been few names that have been talked about, but there could be more names that could emerge, whether there were some higher officials of the Pak army or ISI that were involved in coordinating these attacks. All of those questions will be asked to Tahawwur Rana. And also the fact that there are many details of the financial or document-based support that was extended to David Coleman Headley, the main mastermind of the attacks, the person who was responsible for coordinating these attacks. What kind of details he was provided through Rana's channel. So that will also be looked at. And also the fact that there will be some clarity on Headley's connections to the US, because he is a Pakistani American and he's one of the most mysterious characters in this whole saga, because it has been widely reported that one of his ex-wives had contacted American authorities and told them that he had been involved in some mysterious operations. He had been visiting Mumbai, whether or not he's a terrorist. She had fielded these questions to the American authorities, but somehow David Coleman Headley slipped through the cracks and was able to coordinate these attacks. So that question will be fielded to Tahawwur Rana for sure.
US intelligence agencies, meanwhile, we go back to US after the Tahawwur Rana fiasco. Back in Washington, US agencies are now investigating, in fact, whether the FBI played a role in planning the January 6 Capitol riots. Joseph Kent, the chief of staff to Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard has in fact confirmed the probe during his Senate hearing. Though a recent Justice Department report dismissed such claims, stating no FBI informants were in fact involved in violence. The topic resurfaced as Gabbard launched a task force to investigate alleged politicization within the intelligence community. Now, Cantu, once called the Capitol assault an intelligence operation, was pressed by Democratic senators for evidence. His nomination now hangs in the balance as intelligence community revisits one of the most contentious, in fact, events in recent US and world history for that matter. At least 184 people were killed and more than 155 injured when a nightclub's roof collapsed in the Dominican Republic's capital early Tuesday, including a prominent local singer, a governor, and two former MLS, MLB, Major League Basketball players, in fact. It is till now not clear how many people exactly were inside the popular venue, but estimates range between 500 and 1,000. Meanwhile, emergency workers have demolished one of the walls of the club to better reach those still buried under the rubble after 24 hours. While the US President Donald Trump paused tariffs on other countries for 90 days, China was singled out amid rising tensions. Trump has sharply escalated his trade war with Beijing, raising tariffs to 125% on Chinese imports. Trump said that China was not exactly thrilled with the ongoing TikTok sale talks. Now, the decision also comes amid global recession fears and deepening economic rivalry over tech, currency, and even influence. Trump gave mixed signals on whether the hikes were part of a negotiation tactic. Meanwhile, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick confirmed the European Union would not face similar action yet. Beijing, on the other hand, has not responded publicly to the new tariffs, but listened to President Trump's advice for Xi Jinping.
Some economists are saying that right now is technically an embargo on China with 125% tariffs. Are you concerned of escalation beyond the trade war with China?
No, I'm not concerned. I think President Xi is a very smart guy, and I think we'll end up making a very good deal for both. But, you know, we've been treated so badly for so many years. Again, we allowed that to happen. We've been treated so badly for so many years. But no, I don't expect that. I think President Xi is one of the very smart people of the world, and I don't think he'd allow that to happen. And we're very powerful.
Delegates from the US and Russia met in Turkey on Thursday as part of continued efforts to, in fact, normalize embassy operations between the two countries. Now, the talks will not include any discussion of political or security issues, the US had said. Ukraine's not absolutely not on the agenda, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said. Listen in.
Подтверждаю, они состоятся завтра. Это будет второй раунд российско-американских консультаций, который будет посвящен нормализации функционирования дипломатических миссий двух стран. Место проведения, экспертный формат и состав участников встречи остаются неизменными. Консультации пройдут в Стамбуле. Российскую делегацию по-прежнему возглавляет Александр Никитич Дарчиев. Теперь уже в качестве посла нашей страны в США. Американскую сторону представит зам госсекретаря Сената Колтер. Также будут представители от внешнеполитических ведомств России и США.
And US President Donald Trump has warned, in fact signaled, that Israel would be the leader in a potential military strike on Iran if Tehran doesn't in fact abandon its nuclear weapons program. Now, the statement came ahead of the expected US-Iran talks in Oman. While Trump described the talks as direct, Iran claims they are indirect, with Oman being the mediator. Trump withdrew the US from the 2015 nuclear deal in 2018 and has since increased pressure on Tehran. Now, with intelligence suggesting Iran is closer than ever to, in fact, developing a nuclear bomb, fears of military escalation are rising across the region, not only West Asia. No official timeline has been set for the proposed diplomatic or military steps as of now. The US Senate has confirmed Pete Hoekstra as the new ambassador to Canada, approving him with 60 to 37 votes. A former ambassador to the Netherlands and ex-Republican Congressman, Hoekstra steps in the role at a time of unusually strained ties between Washington and Ottawa. President Trump's recent comments joking about annexing Canada and ongoing trade tensions have only stirred diplomatic friction further. During his confirmation hearing, Hoekstra reaffirmed Canada's sovereignty, distancing himself effectively from President Trump's remarks. With bipartisan backing, Hoekstra now heads north to navigate a rather complex relationship between two historically close allies. Staying with Trump, the US president has signed memoranda directing the Justice Department to investigate two former officials from his first term. Now, Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs, while also stripping them of security clearances. Taylor, who penned a 2018 anti-Trump op-ed under Anonymous, was called a traitor by the US president. Meanwhile, Krebs, who led cybersecurity efforts and defended the 2020 election's integrity, also has come under fire. Now, this is part of a broader push by Trump to retaliate, in fact, against critics, including law firms linked to investigations against him in the past. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, critics are warning that this escalates his post-Trump campaign of retribution. Taylor responded, warning America is headed down a dark path. Listen in.
And it was like he was this gentleman or that gentleman, like I dealt with him all the time. I had no idea who this guy. I said, who the hell is Miles Taylor? And he made a living on going on CNN talking about the president. And I think what he did, he wrote a book, Anonymous, said all sorts of lies and bad things. And I think it's like a traitor, it's like spying. He's tried to make the case that this election was a safe election. I think he said this is the safest election we've ever had. And yet, every day you read in the papers about more and more fraud that's discovered. He's the fraud, he's a disgrace. And I have no idea who he is. Krebs, no idea who he is.
Republican infighting stalled a major budget vote in the House. Speaker Mike Johnson had aimed to pass the framework before the spring break, but could not convince conservatives, holdouts demanding deeper spending cuts. Dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill by President Donald Trump, the budget is central to his agenda of tax breaks, deportations, and shrinking the government. Late Wednesday, Johnson, in fact, huddled with members in a closed-door meeting after speaking briefly with President Trump. With at least a dozen Republicans opposed, including the Freedom Caucus, the vote was pulled. The process could now stretch for weeks or even months together as Congress seeks consensus. Here's more.
Everybody has the same idea and mission and goal in mind, and that is we want to deliver the one big beautiful bill. And you all know what's entailed in that. We've talked about it many times. This is the procedural step to continue that process. The House and the Senate Republicans are working together as one team.
And with that, it's time we head into a short break. See you on the other side.
Don't you have Watchdog Lock? No! What's that? Don't be a victim, yeah. Get Watchdogs, 3-star solid secure diamond locks. They are anti-pick, anti-snap, anti-bump. बोले तो fully anti-chore. जब तक जोड़ेंगे नहीं, तब तक छोड़ेंगे.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together, we can save more lives.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
When you paint by feeling, you can come home to a blooming good day. Change starts here. Dulux.
This poor creature is a lion trapped in a cold, bare cage, alone. Terribly malnourished, just skin and bone. How can anyone simply leave a lion to rot and die? Right now, there are thousands of big cats suffering the same torment, languishing in cruel cages, neglected, abandoned, left to die. Will you help Four Paws free big cats suffering around the world right now? Please call 0800 035 7798, text RESCUE to 70544, or go online and give just £3 a month. Help Four Paws cut the bars and rescue these cats from their prisons. Help us take them to our sanctuaries where they can begin to recover. You'll be setting big cats free from pain and protecting them from cruelty, letting them see the blue sky above and breathe the clean, fresh air of freedom for the first time. But they are the lucky ones. Please call 0800 035 7798, text RESCUE to 70544 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Because if no one cuts the bars and frees these big cats, they will die trapped and alone.
What they don't tell you about getting older is how much fun it can be. Enjoying all the things you've worked so hard for. Spending time with the people that really matter. Not to mention, finally finding that precious time for yourself. I don't want anything taking my best years away from me, but like so many people, I've seen the heartbreak that dementia can cause. That's why I'm asking everyone to order this essential free guide from Alzheimer's Research UK. It's called Your Brain Matters. We all know what's good for our heart and our lungs, but do you know how to keep your brain healthy too? Well, this guide tells you how, in 7 steps you can start taking right now, whatever your age. Just ring the number on screen to get your free copy. Inside you'll find facts and tips that can keep your brain healthy and help reduce your risk of developing dementia. It's advice you can really trust from leading dementia scientists. Read it, keep it, and check back whenever you need to. Order your free copy now. Call Alzheimer's Research UK on 0800 035 5984 or text BRAIN2 to 78866. Think of it as another way of planning for your best years, because your brain really matters.
Welcome back. You're watching The World Report. On to the world of business now. President Donald Trump has said that there's a deal to spin off TikTok's US operations is still possible. Now, this comes just days after the process was put on hold. Trump has extended ByteDance's deadline to divest TikTok's US assets until the 19th of June or face a ban. Now, this deal would create a new US-based company with American investors in charge. But senators from both parties are pushing back. Some say Trump has no legal authority, in fact, to grant these extensions, while others want guarantees that Chinese ties are completely severed. Meanwhile, the Chinese government would also have to approve any divestment. Listen in.
Well, it's moving along, but obviously I would say right now China's not exactly thrilled about signing it. We have a deal with some very good people, some very rich companies that would do a great job with it, but we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with China. So
Mr. President, so on the table.
No, it's on the table very much. I think China's going to want to do it, actually.
OpenAI is now hitting back at Elon Musk in court, accusing him of harassment. That's right, the ChatGPT maker has filed a countersuit alleging Musk has run a smear campaign on social media and also through legal channels to hurt the company. Musk had earlier sued OpenAI over its transition to a for-profit model, saying it violated the group's founding mission. Hitting back, OpenAI said that the attacks are harming its $40 billion fundraising round and wants Musk, in fact, barred from further interference. Despite market jitters and Trump's tariff shocks, Alphabet has said that it's staying the course on AI investments, reaffirming, in fact, a $75 billion outlay for 2025. Now, the money will go to chips, servers, and data centers to support its AI models like Gemini. Google Cloud, meanwhile, has said that the demand is strong enough to justify the cost, even if tariffs push hardware prices higher. The announcement helped lift Alphabet shares nearly 10%, with Microsoft and Meta also committing to AI spending above $65 billion each. In the world of sports, Lionel Messi led Inter Miami to their semi-finals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup with a 3-1 win over LAFC or Los Angeles FC in Florida. Messi scored twice, including a clutch penalty in the 84th minute, overturning a 2-0 aggregate deficit. He also assisted Noah Allen's goal in the 61st minute, making it 2-2 on aggregate before sealing the comeback. Miami will now face the Vancouver Whitecaps in the semi-finals. Vancouver, meanwhile, drew 2-2 with Pumas in Mexico City, but advanced on away goals, thanks to a stoppage time strike from Tristan Blackmon. News from IPL, Rajasthan Royals captain Sanju Samson has been fined rupees 24 lakh for a slow over rate during Wednesday's match against the Gujarat Titans. The rest of the team also faces a fine of either rupees 6 lakhs each or 25% of their match fee. It's the second over-rate offence by Rajasthan Royals only this season. The first came under stand-in skipper Riyan Parag. That's all we have for you on this edition of the World Report. Take care and have a wonderful day.
At Direct Line, we know that for multi-property landlords, sometimes the tiniest of things can turn into way bigger problems. From niggly contract issues to keeping up with ever-changing legislation. That's why Direct Line's landlord insurance offers a 24/7 legal helpline as standard. Because a call with someone could help to make the hairiest of problems feel that little bit smoother. Search Direct Line Landlord Insurance. We're on it.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
We know travel can be confusing. That's why I use travelup.com. You can upgrade your seat, one way or return, increase your baggage allowance, filter by flight time, journey duration, and customer rating. And while you're away, Travelup has you covered. From weather updates and on-demand taxi services, to event and excursion tickets, all at your fingertips. Book now on travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travelup, flights, hotels, holidays.
Goldbank London, your #1 place for buying and selling gold. Visit goldbank.co.uk or call 0203 500 1111.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 038 4926 and giving £1 a week to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 038 4926. Text C13 to 82727 or go online and give just £1 a week now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Dulux Standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion, now £15. Feel as proud as a peacock with Wix.
General public, that is the Indian public, it is just a it is not just a diplomatic thing or anything like that. It is a revenge, you can say that. No, we could hold on, we could get a hold on the culprit.
I would like to ask you, though this may not be seen as a closure for any of the victims, and you of course did say that you don't want Sandeep Unnikrishnan, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, to be categorized as a victim, but for many of them who lost their lives, be it at the Taj Hotel or anywhere else, do you feel that for their families as well, it is something that they will feel happy about, though may not come as a closure as such?
No, it's not a closure. Definitely, we have to get Coleman had leave first. He's the last point or something like that. But why are we not? See, these are all tools actually. See, they are working for money. See, all these people, those who have done at the behest of some agencies in our neighborhood, and also see, the thing is that the brain behind that, who has planned this and then who wanted to do it. So that is more important, and then we could not touch that.
All right, so Major Unnikrishnan's father clearly says that Sandeep Unnikrishnan wasn't a victim of 26/11 attack. He was the one. The 31-year-old Major had led a team of 10 commandos at the iconic Taj Mahal Hotel after it came under attack, and he was killed in the encounter, but his supreme sacrifice is not to be forgotten. We'll keep an eye on the developments here on this big story that we're tracking, and we will get you more as soon as Tahawwur Rana lands in India. What all is going to happen, post Tahawwur Rana's extradition. And also, as soon as he lands in India, we understand the NIA is also going to get full custody of Tahawwur Rana. Much more coming on this big story in just a short while from now. We'll keep an eye. Meanwhile, shifting our focus now to some more news that we're tracking at this point in time. US President Donald Trump has announced a 90-day pause on the tariffs except for China. What are the implications going to be, and what has brought about this change of heart for Donald Trump? My colleague Sakshi Bajaj is joining us on the broadcast. Sakshi, go ahead.
Absolutely. Tariff talk is what has dominated sentiment in the past few weeks, past few months. US President Donald Trump has now announced a 90-day pause on his sweeping tariffs on all countries barring China. But what is the cost that this has come at? We have seen US markets lose over $6.6 trillion in value. Market cap of Indian firms fall $30 trillion from the peak, and NSE market cap declined $280 trillion in just 3 trading sessions. While now we have seen global markets stage a historic rally on Trump's tariff U-turn, we saw the Nasdaq record its best session since 2001 by soaring over 12%, the S&P 500 surging over 9.5% and posting its biggest single-day gain since 2008, and the Dow Jones jumped nearly 3,000 points in just 1 trading session. But to decode the impact of the US President, of course, Trump's constant flip-flop, as it were, over the tariff situation, I'm joined by senior market expert Ajay Bagga. Ajay Bagga, thank you for your time. I'd like to begin by asking you, as someone who's tracking global markets very closely, India has remained resilient, but the market cap of Indian firms has also fallen $30 trillion from the peak, and the NSE market cap also declined $280 trillion in just 3 trading sessions. What should India's stock markets expect now going forward?
Well, immediately there is a relief rally coming, Sakshi. If our markets were open today we are observing Mahavir Jayanti, so markets are shut for the day. We saw that the GIFT Nifty, the Indian offshore futures, were up nearly 700 points, or nearly 3% yesterday in the US trading. Today they are a little softer. They're down by about 180 odd points from that point, but still it's a good 550 points up from the close of markets on Wednesday evening. So you can expect a 2% bounce in the Indian markets tomorrow if all things go as per plan. Today, we are seeing Europe and Asia were up quite sharply. Europe has opened up, and let's see the European close in another 4-5 hours. We'll get an idea. Another 6 hours from now, the US inflation numbers come in, which are expected to show a little softening of inflation. That will help the markets. But overall, a lot of the sentimental damage, Sakshi, has been done. So the trust is broken. There is a stampede into safe assets, and the basis trade in the US, the US bond sell off that happened. Today, there is a 30-year US bond which is being sold. Let's see how the demand for that comes through. There has been a lot of selling of US government bonds, US treasuries. So that we'll have to see. That was the big reason behind Trump doing such a humiliating turnaround and doing a reversal. Otherwise, with all the fanfare and drama with which he launched these reciprocal tariffs, the idea was, he'll not do a reversal that soon. But he had to eat humble pie yesterday.
Right.
Markets are not very convinced.
Right, markets are not very convinced. Of course, I'm also joined by Mithali Nikor, senior economist. Mithali, do you agree? And of course, the window for trade deal and negotiations now in this 90-day pause period, what does that look like? And of course, this pause period is coming after a lot of chaos and of course, global markets losing trillions in market value.
Absolutely, Sakshi. I mean, this was an absolutely needless exercise in terms of, the entire world coming to a halt economically in many ways over the last week. And, while the president might believe that he's created a position of strength and countries are calling him, in order to negotiate. However, this is not entirely factually correct because there are a number of countries which have actually said that they will fight to the end. For